Module 6. Positioning the facial features and lines of expression. The position of the facial features change depending on which eye level we are viewing the head from. For instance, when you view the head from top, you will see more of hair on the head, whereas when you see the head from below, the hairline and hair will be hardly visible. So, to check and decide your eye level is most important. Let's begin with the basic oval shape of the head as learned before. This oval shape appears to be the front direct view, but if I have to show the same oval shape from below the eye level, or in other words, if the head appears as tilted backwards, draw a line dividing the oval from top to bottom. The features will be placed symmetrically on both sides of the central line. You also use this central line to check whether you are placing the features correctly. Now, lightly draw a series of lines running across the oval head to carefully mark the features. Moving on to the lines marking the hairline, eyes, nose and mouth. When the head is tilted backward, as it might be if the model is looking at the sky, you will notice that you can see less of the head. Now, the lower part of the face from the nose to chin takes the larger portion of the facial area. The basic guidelines for such a position are following. The distance between the eyes and the cranium is very small. The distance between the eyes and nose appears to be less than in the straight on view. The distance between the nose and mouth and between the mouth and chin appears compressed. I will draw a face that is tilted forward. The general guidelines for this position of the head will change. When the head is tilted forward, as it might be if your model is reading a book, you will notice that you can see more of a head and less of a facial features. The basic guidelines for such a position are the following. The tips of the ears are now above the level of the eyes. The distance between the eyes and ears appear to be greater than in the straight on view. The distance between the nose and mouth and chin is very small. So it is important to know whether your subject is below your eye level, above your eye level or at your eye level. Another important aspect is angle. The eye level and the angle of your model are the two facets that you need to take a careful decision about. Now I'll make another drawing of a face and how it would appear from the side angle when viewed it from the same eye level. Let's look at the same angle of the face when viewed from below your eye level. Observe the position of the ear changing as the head tilts forward as compared to the drawing above when the head is tilted backward. The ears are almost the same length as your nose. So the position of your ear will move along with the position of the nose with the changing eye level. The entire face can be divided in 4 parts. From your chin to tip of the nose to the center of your eyebrows, the forehead, the beginning of the hairline to the center of the scalp. It's an interesting observation that the length of your face from the beginning of your forehead all the way down to the chin is the same as your hand, whereas the center of your scalp to your chin is as long as your foot. Our proportions are of utmost importance when drawing portraits. A very slight difference in the proportions can disturb the drawing considerably. Draw a basic oval shape of the head and mark the 4 major divisions. The general guidelines for the length of the face, starting from the hairline to the chin, is 21 or 22 centimeters. Though each face can vary, but this figure is considered as a general rule. We will measure the face with the help of ruler to elaborate and clarify this point further. You may measure the length of your model's hand to check the proportions of your portrait, in case you are drawing a life-size portrait. Also remember that the size of the portrait will seem bigger when you shade your drawing. It will expand by filling of shadows, middle tones and highlights. We are attempting artistic portrait. These are not for the purpose of film posters. Film posters are bigger than the life size, whereas artistic portraits are slightly smaller than life size. So let me go back to working on another oval shape of the head, quickly dividing it into 2 equal parts, horizontally and vertically, further splitting the 2 horizontal areas in 2 parts, giving us a division of 4 equal parts through the entire oval shape. I will briefly explain another method of placing the facial features. We will talk about it in detail in another lesson separately. We have 3 triangles forming on the face. These inverted triangles are from the corner of the eye to the tip of the chin, from the corner of the eyes to the center of the lips, from the corner of the eyes to the tips of the nose. Let us see these inverted triangles in a drawing of a portrait. All the facial features are covered in this triangle except the ears. So you will sketch the ears, keeping in mind that the ears are located horizontally in the same area as the nose. To calculate the distance between both the eyes is also quite simple. A fun fact to remember is that the distance between 2 eyes is the same as the width of the single eye. Construct the jawline and head around this inverted triangle. The inverted triangle containing the features will give you an idea about the major planes of the face. We will discuss the planes in our next lesson. The features in the face are repetition of the oval shape of the head itself. For instance, look at another drawing of an oval shape looking like a head. The nose comes out of an oval shape. The nostrils too reflect the oval shape. The basic shape of an eye is also an oval shape. The repetition of the oval shape makes us appear beautiful. The most important line, or famously known as a line of beauty, is called the line of parabola. When you throw a ball and it tips on the floor to bounce up again and move forward, this curve that it creates in the air is called the line of parabola. The line of parabola is found more in women than in the men's body form, which is why the female form appears more attractive and beautiful. They look beautiful because they are formed by curved lines. So going back to the basic shapes of the features, the chin also is constructed out of an oval. Look at the form of a human hand. It is constructed out of a curved lines, forming oval and cylindrical shapes. The entire body is built through the same lines, and thus the round shapes forming our limbs make us look good. Now I'll show you two lines. Out of these two, this one has more scope of appearing beautiful. Look at the lines of a tree. How the branches grow out of its trunk in rounded curved forms, which makes the basic shape of the tree appear beautiful. The branches never struck out in straight lines. The curved branches grow like they were painted by a brush. And the lines of the tree and its branches aren't mechanical. Draw several such oval shapes of the human head and try to positioning of a facial features from various angles and eye levels. You will have to draw several such drawings if you want to become an artist or a portrait artist. Whenever you go after graduating as an artist, the first request that is put forward to you by someone is to draw their portrait. Look at the different angles of the head. While I sketch the neck, the side view of a person looking straight, slightly looking up, and the head tilted backward. Observe carefully how a person sits or stands. Over the years, every person forms a few character lines through which they can be recognized easily. Various postures also form distinct character lines in some individuals. I will add features to the different angles of the head drawn on the sheet one by one. You can use faces from the magazines to draw portraits, trace different angles of the head, and place features on the same. Always keep a sketchbook with you and always scribble. I quickly scribble the position of the head of various people when I am sitting in a discussion and not participating. I pull my sketchbook and begin to scribble quick sketches. Your hand gets suppler where your brain gets trained to interpret the model quickly. It will capture the character lines quicker and quicker with time. Keep the basic oval shape of the head in mind while drawing quick sketches. Observe various characters in places like busy markets or railway stations to draw quick sketches and capturing their characters in just a few lines. It's not always important to draw beautiful faces. Try different expressions, but remember to draw the nose in proportion and correctly. The nose is mostly very distinct character line in a face. The reason I repeatedly ask you to look at the nose very carefully. What is the shape of the nose? Does it look like a parrot's beak or it is a wide flat nose? For example, look at these noses I will draw. If the nose is big, the lips will be large too. And if the nose is sharp, the face will have lips that are not too thick in proportion to the nose. These rules apply to most faces. However, you may come across a face once in a while that will be beyond these rules and appear very different. Try drawing faces in the shape of some fruits and vegetables. For instance, a face that is the shape of an apple, pear, or a carrot. Experiments like these and drawings cartoons will give you the experience of drawing expression and exploring different lines that show sadness, frowns, or excitement in a face. I will draw a pumpkin and a potato. A potato is an unusual shape. Think where will you place the features on a potato, as it does not have smooth contours. Creative drawings like these will free your mind as you train your hand to bring some meaning out of unusual shapes. By doing something like this, you lift the pressure of drawing a real human face that you might go through during the initial days of learning to draw portraits. On the fresh sheet of paper, I'll quickly scribble a few lines. Can we bring out a face from this scribble, which as of now appears as nothing but a doodle? Try to spot where the nose or eyes can be placed for a face to appear. How interesting is this process? Let us try another similar sketch. This is a very useful exercise if you wish to study animation further. You will have to search for a face in a scribble. Create a scribble of a few rhythmic lines and place the facial features in a way that will give us a different expressions and faces. Scribble a lot for the lines to develop sweetness and rhythm. Draw several such faces and remember to scribble every day before you begin with such faces. Observe the direction of the lines when faces are in different expression. I will draw a face of a man who is frowning, so all lines will droop and will be facing downwards. Add a mustache and some other characters to support the frown. I will draw a face that's happy. Consequently, the lines will be in contrast. As the face is elated, the lines too will travel upwards. Note that by placing the first few lines, you state the expression of a face, and by repeating similar lines throughout the face, you will intensify the expression on the face. An angry person appears angrier if I add drooping sharp lines near the lips, eyes, and even around the ears. Whereas the happy face is full of soft lines traveling upwards. I will draw another face where the person is shouting. I will apply pastel to enhance the same expressions through the calculative use of colors. Play with colors and think which hue to use over a happy, frowning, and a shouting face to accentuate the expression. These creative drawings will help you unload stress and unexpressed thoughts lying dormant in your subconscious. The relative position of the features changes with the sitter, or subject changes his posture, put in the central axis, or the line dividing the face from top to bottom in the center. Then carefully observe where the hairline should be placed exactly. Keep measuring as you draw further to ensure you are on track. Once you are used to the basic shapes of the head, you can begin to look where the individual features of the face are positioned. Spherical lines across the head are the position for eyes, nose, mouth, and the chin to be placed on. Although every human face and its features are different, there are some general guidelines to their positions, and these do not change.